Greetings. Welcome to part 12 of my series on the science of Hinduism. Today we're going to be going over a quote from the Bhagavatam that Plato already mentioned in one of his comments. Again, as I stated in a previous installment, I'm not really sure what he thinks this means, but we're going to try and figure out just what this quote is talking about, if it's even a good translation. And if it is a good translation, how well does it work with reality? And is it some kind of evidence that the Bhagavatam is from a higher power, like a god or something?
3 atoms make a trisaranu, of which one is reminded by a beam of sunlight falling through a lattice window, in which one sees something, a dust particle, going up in the sky. The time taken by the combination of 3 trisaranus is called a truthi, calculated as 116.875 of a second.
So, one of the first questions that occurred to me here is, what the fuck is a trisaranu? And, well, it actually kind of tells you. A trisaranu is composed of 3 atoms. So, if we assume that the quote is employing the modern use of the word atom, then it appears that a trisaranu is some kind of molecule. It doesn't seem to matter whether we're talking about hydrogen atoms, carbon atoms, oxygen atoms, etc. It's just referring to a molecule that has 3 atoms in it. An obvious reason for that is, of course, the fact that ancient people didn't know about the elements from the periodic table that we use in modernity. But we do want to entertain Plato-Arides' perspective that these ancient texts knew about this stuff. So for now, we'll just say that 3 atoms make a trisaranu type of molecular structure, regardless of their elemental association. But how do trisaranus work with the rest of the quote? It says that 3 trisaranus make a truthi. So a truthi appears to be some kind of structure composed of 3 molecules. Again, the actual elements in question are irrelevant. A truthi is just 3 trisaranus, regardless of chemical composition. So we're not talking about any specific kind of molecular structure other than one composed of 3 trisaranus. Now, when it says the time taken by the combination of 3 trisaranus is 116.875 of a second, this raises questions. Does that mean that it takes 3 trisaranus 116.875 of a second to combine into a truthi? Or does it mean that a truthi takes 116.875 of a second to travel some specific distance? Or maybe a truthi only lasts 116.875 of a second before it decays? Dude, fuck this. We need a more coherent translation. And sure enough, I found a more coherent translation. But it didn't include anything about 116.875 of a second. Looking at the breakdown of the Sanskrit, it becomes clear that that number was added by an editor and not actually translated from any Sanskrit source material. Or in other words, there is nothing there that can be translated as 116.875 of a second. So if that number meant something to me, which it doesn't, its appearance in this translation would not indicate that whoever originally wrote the Bhagavatam had some kind of advanced knowledge that could only be of divine origin. But we probably shouldn't assume a modern use of the word atom, so it's probably really talking about the indivisible particles hypothesized by Acharya Kanad. In that case, if we're trying to parallel this with up-to-date chemistry and quantum mechanics, then a trisaranu would not be a molecule. It would be a subatomic particle, and a truthi would not be a molecular structure. It would be an atom in the modern usage of the word. An atom composed of 3 subatomic particles, which sounds like an isotope of hydrogen called tritium, containing 1 proton and 2 neutrons. Yet the quote talks about it like it's a fleck of matter observable to the naked eye in a ray of light, which of course a tritium atom would not be. So I give up. I just don't know how to make this quote make sense with reality. Play it already. If you know how to do it, then you better do it, because it kind of looks to me like whoever wrote this did not entirely know what they were talking about. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.